Good day. Let's talk about the doubling concept in Vedic math. And what I mean by doubling is just simply multiplying by 2. First, let's look at the traditional method that's taught out here in the West. The traditional method, as you guys know from school, is first we do 2 times 5, then 2 times 4 this way. So 2 times 5, we get 10. So what do? We write a 0 and carry a 1. Then we say, okay, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And we say 2 times 8 is 16, so we write down 6, carry a 1. We do 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And finally, 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, now that's a method that we're taught out here in the West in grade school. I'd like to show you guys similar as in doubling. We'll both be doubling, but the Vedic method that's used in the East. So what I want you guys to keep in mind is that when we're going through these problems, when I say 2 times 5 is 10, notice we only write down the last digit for 10. We write down a 0 and carry the 1. Again here, 2 times 8 is 16. We just write down the last number, the 6, and then we carry the 1 up here, right? So you see why I'm pointing this out as I do this next problem. So first thing you got to keep in mind is these two groups of numbers. Group 1 is 0 through 4. And then group 2 is 5 through 9. Now we separate these because group 2, 5 through 9, these are all the numbers that are going to have a carry. Right? These are the numbers that you have to carry a 1. You have to carry a 1 over. For example, right here, 2 times 5, we had to carry this 1. 2 times 8, we had to carry a 1. So that's why we separate these two groups. Group 1, no carry. Group 2, going to carry a 1. So let me show you how this works. The Vedic method, same problem times 2. This number here, 14,845 times 2. So we're going to start from the left and we're going to go right. We're going to start from the left and go right. The first thing we're going to do is 2 times 1. We know 2 times 1 is 2, but before we write down that number 2, before we write down the number 2, we're going to look at the next digit over and determine whether or not it is in group 1 or group 2. Okay, we see number 4, we know that's in group 1. Okay, so that means we don't have to carry anything over. So we start over here, we start off 2 times 1. We look here, we realize we don't have to carry anything. So 2 times 1, we could just go ahead and write that down as a 2. Next number, 2 times 4, we know that's 8. But before we write down the number 8, we're going to look at the next digit over to see if we have to carry 1 over, like we did up here. Okay, so we know 8 is in group 2, so we know there's going to be a carry. So when I say 2 times 4 is 8, okay, before I write down the number 8, I have to determine if there's a carry or not. So I determine, yes, there's going to be a carry. So instead of writing the number 8, I'm going to write the next number up, which is 9, because that's the carry. Okay, so then 2 times 8, we know that's 16. But before I write down the last digit, like I did up here, remember we only write the last digit. Carry the 1, we only write the last digit. Okay, before I write that 6 here, I'm going to look at this next number and determine which group it is in, group 1 or group 2. Well, we know the number 4 is in group 1, which means there's not going to be a carry. So I can go ahead and write down that number. Okay, 4 times 2, the next one, 4 times 2, we know that's 8. But we look at the next digit over, which is in group 2, which means there's going to be a carry. So instead of writing 8, we're going to write the next number up, which is 9. Okay, and then 5 times 2 is 10. And of course, we only write down the last digit because we already did this carry. We already did this carry right here. So we're just going to write down the last digit there, 0. Okay, I'm going to show you guys that this method is extremely fast. It's a fast way of doing it because you're going to do most of it in your head. You're going to do most of the stuff in your head. You're not going to be writing a bunch of digits up here. Let me show you guys another example. Okay, let's do this one here. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. We look over the next digit. We see it's a group 1 digit. So we know we could just go ahead and write down that 2. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. We look over at the next digit, though. We see that's a group 2. So instead of writing 4, we write the next number up, which is 5. Okay, 6 times 4 is 12. We look over, we see this is a group 1, so we know we don't have to carry anything. So we write down the last digit of 12, which is 2. And 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, next problem. 3 times 2 is 6. Look over at the next digit. We realize we have to carry 1 over. So instead of writing 6, we write up the next number, 7. 5 times 2, of course, is 10. Look at the next digit. That's a group 1, so there's no carry. So we could write that 0 down. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. We look at the next digit over. We see that's a group 2 digit. So that means we have to carry 1 over. So instead of writing 8, we write the next number up, which is 9. And 8 times 2 is 16, so we just write the last digit out. Okay, next problem. 6 times 2 is 12. We look over, we see 5 is a group 2 digit, so we write 13. 5 times 2 is 10. We look over the number 4. That's group 1 digit. So we just write the 0. Because remember, we already carried that 1 over. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. We look over the next digit. That's a 9. That's a group 2. So instead of writing 8, we write the next number up, which is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Just write that 8 down like that. Okay. Starting at the left, going right. Well, we know 5 times 2 is 10. We look over the next digit. We see that's a group 2. So we write 11. 5 times 2 is 10 again. We look over the next digit. We see that that's a group 2. So we need to carry 1 over. So instead of writing 0, we write a 1. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. We look over, see that's a group 1. We know we don't have to carry anything over, so we could write down that last digit of 16 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. We look to the right. That's another group 2, which means we need to carry 1 over. So instead of writing 4, we write 5. The next digit up. And 9 times 2 is 18. You could just go ahead and write that down. Okay, next problem here. 7 times 2 is 14. We know we need to carry 1 over from the 8. 8 times 2 is 16. We know we need to carry 1 over from the next digit over, which is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. No need to carry anything over. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 3 is 6. Now, the advantage of this is, well, you can do it in your head. Kind of requires a little bit more, I guess, brain power to do it, because it's unusual. You're not really taught this way in the West. But once you get going, once you practice this a couple times, you can end up doing it really, really fast. And there's a lot of uses for this concept of doubling in Vedic maths. It comes up again and again. You could use it in different situations. And I'll show you one of those situations right now where doubling comes in very handy. And that's when we that's when we divide a number by 5 or divide a number by 50 or divide a number by 500, or divide a number by 25, or 250. I'll show you how we could use doubling concept with division with those numbers. Okay, I'd have you guys keep in mind that 5 equals 10 over 2. Okay, that's obvious, right? 10 divided by 2, that gives you 5. So let's say I have 20 and I want to divide by 5. Okay, so instead of writing normally, 20 divided by 5, I just replaced this 5 with its equivalent, 10 over 2. Because 5 equals 10 over 2. So I'm just replacing this 5 with 10 over 2. Okay, and anyone who knows their fractions knows when you divide a number by a fraction, you invert and multiply. So what we're left with is this. 20 divided by 5 can be written as 20 times 2 divided by 10. Okay, we simply inverted this fraction and multiplied. Okay, here it is. This is your fraction. You just inverted and multiplied. So now I'm going to show you how this concept, which I've written out here, can be used to divide numbers. So for example, let's use the one that I already have here, 20 divided by 5. Okay, so what you do is you double, right? 20 times 2, that's doubling, and then you divide by 10. So 20 times 2, that gives us 40. And then dividing by 10 just means you move the decimal over. So you can see this is a way. Now that's obvious. Anyone who knows their multiplication tables knows 20 divided by 5 is 4. So I want to show you guys using kind of bigger numbers how this works out really well. Okay, just as I shown you earlier, we could rewrite this like this. Okay, it's not necessary, but I'm just writing it so you could go along with what I'm showing you here. So first thing we want to do with the number is we want to double it and then divide by 10. So doubling, we get 2, 5, 1, 6. Okay, using the doubling method I just showed you. And then dividing by 10 means we just move that digit one, move over to the left once. So our answer is 251.6. Just real quick, just to reiterate, doubling. Okay, double the 1. 1 times 2 is 2. I look to the right. I see that's a group 1, so I know don't need to carry anything. Okay, so then I'm going to double 2, which is 4. I look to the right. I realize that's group 2, so I know I need to carry. So instead of writing a 4, I write the next number up, which is 5. Okay, now doubling 5. 5 times 2 is 10. I look to the right. I see that's a group 2, so I know I need to carry. So instead of writing a 0, I write the next number up, which is 1. And then, of course, 8 times 2 is 16. So I just write the last digit down there, 6. And then, so that's the doubling. That's the doubling. And then divided by 10, we just move that digit over. There's our answer. I'll show you guys this again with another example. Okay, super quick one. First, let's double it. And then divide by 10 by moving that decimal over. So we get this is our answer, 242.4. This is a very fast way of doing your division by 5. Once you get the hang of it, you guys are going to be... I'm really surprised they don't teach these methods in school. They're kind of shortcuts, I guess you could say. It's a different way of looking at math. I'm going to show you guys a couple more examples. You get the hang of it. Just keep following along. I'm sure you guys will get this. Okay, starting from the left, going right, we're going to double it, and then we're going to divide by 10. So 6 times 2 is 12. We look at the next digit over. We see we need to carry 1 because 8 is a group 2. Okay, so instead of writing 12, we write the next digit up, which is 13. Next number up. 8 times 2 is 16. Before we write that 6 down, we look to the right, see if we need to carry. Realize that we don't need to carry anything. So we could write that 6 down. 1 times 2 is 2. We look to the right. And lo and behold, we need to carry. So instead of writing a 2, we write the next number up, which is 3. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18. But we look at the next digit over. We realize we don't need to carry. So we could go ahead and write down the 8 from the 18. Remember, we only write the last digit down, just like in the traditional method of doing math. And then finally, 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, now divide by 10 simply means you move that decimal over. So our final answer is okay, now let's do one division by 50. Keep in mind 50 is 100 divided by 2. So we just do the same method, but we're going to move the decimal over twice. So first thing, let's double. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. We need to carry 1 because we look over. This is a group 2. So we write 3. Okay, 6 times 2 is 12. We know we need to carry 1 from the 7. So instead of writing 12, we write 3 from the 13. And 7 times 2, that gives us 14. We have to look to the right. Lo and behold, we don't need to carry, so we could go ahead and write down that 4. 4 times 2 is 8, but we need to carry because of the next digit over is group 2. So instead of writing 8, we're going to write the next digit up, which is 9. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, now simply bring that decimal over twice. That's what happens when you divide by 100. So our final answer is 334.96. Okay. 2 times 2 is 4. No need for a carry because we look at the next digit over. 3 times 2 is 6. We need to bring that number up 1 because the next digit over is a group 2. 7 times 2 is 14. We need to carry 1 because the next digit over is a group 2. 8 times 2 is 16. But we know we need to carry because 5 is the group 2, and if it's a group 2, you need to carry 1 over. 5 times 2 is 10. Could go ahead and write down that 0. Now we've done the doubling. Now what we've got to do is move that decimal over 2 spots. So our final answer, 475.7. Okay, now let's do one divided by 500. Okay, we know that 500 equals 1,000 divided by 2. So any number x divided by 500, okay, any number x divided by 500 is going to equal x divided by 1,000 divided by 2. Because we simply replace the 500 with 1,000 divided by 2. This is the same concept that we just been working on. Okay, now if you know your fractions, if you got a number divided by a fraction, you could invert that number and multiply, and that's what we get here. 2 times the number divided by 1,000. That's the exact same as dividing a number by 500. This and this are the same. This and this are equivalent. So let's go ahead and do that here. Okay, 8 times, remember first we're going to double it. We're going to double this number starting at the left. 8 times 2 is 16. We look over the next digit. We know we don't need to carry, so we could write down that 16. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8, but we know we need to carry 1 over from here. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 gives us 9. Okay, 5 doubled is 10. But we know we need to borrow 1. We need to borrow 1 here. So instead of writing 10, we write the 11, the 1 from the 11. And then finally, 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, now what we're going to do is simply move that decimal 1, 2, 3 times. So our final answer is 16.914. Okay, let me show you guys again this doubling concept and why we're just what I'm talking about here. So if I have a number 8457 times 2, okay, in the traditional Western style, you start at the right and go left. So 2 times 7 is 4, carry a 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 2 times 4 is 8. And then 2 times 8 is 16. What the heck's going on here? 16. So all we're doing in my method, this method, is this 1. We're simply, oops. I goofed here. One moment, guys. This happens. I'm going to go ahead and erase this and do this problem over again. Okay. 2 times 7 is 14. Write a 4, carry a 1. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. So I write a 1, carry a 1. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. And then 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you guys is that these carries here, when I do this, you write down the last number, and then you write the carry up here. I'm doing that exact same thing here, but I'm going from left to right. Okay? So I write 8 times 2 is 16. I look to the next digit over, I realize I don't have to carry. But when I go here, I say 4 times 2 is 8, but I have to look at this next digit to see if I have to carry it. And that carry, that's right here. Okay, all I'm doing is thinking about that carry, but I'm thinking about it in my mind before I write down the number. It's pretty easy. I'm pretty sure you guys get it. Just kind of wanted to reiterate what's going on. So let's see what happens when you divide by number 25 or 250 and how we could use this. Okay, same exact concept. We know 25 equals 100 divided by 4. So any number x divided by 25 is the same as x divided by 100 divided by 4. It's 100 divided by 4. I'm simply replacing 25 with 100 divided by 4. Okay, inverting the fractions, multiplying, you get 4x over 100. So what this means is when we divide by 25, we're going to double it twice and then divide by 100. So we're going to double it twice and then move the decimal over 2 times. Okay, let's just start with the easy one, 14 divided by 25. So first we double it twice. So doubling it the first time, we get 28. Double it again, you get 56. Okay, now we're going to move the decimal over once, twice. So our answer equals 0.56. Okay, 254 divided by 25. So we're going to double it once. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. You look at the next digit over, that's a group 2, so we know we need to carry. So instead of writing 4, we write the next number up, 5. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. We look at the next digit over. We see we don't need to carry. So I can go ahead and write that 0 down. And then 4 times 2 is 8. So now we double it once again. 2 times 5 is 10. We look at the next digit over. We know we don't need to carry, so we could write 10. Okay, 2 times 0 is 0. We look at the next digit over, realize we have to carry 1. So instead of writing 0, we write the next number up, which is 1. And then 2 times 8 is 16. Just go ahead and write that down like the last digit. And then all we're going to simply do is move that decimal over twice. There's our answer. 254 divided by 25 equals 10.16. Okay, I think you guys know where this is going. 250 equals 1,000 divided by 4. So any number x divided by 250 is the same as x divided by 1,000 divided by 4. Simply replacing 250 with 1,000 over 4. Those are interchangeable. Why? Because there's an equal sign here. So inverting this is what we get. So that means any number divided by 250, we simply double that number twice and then divide by 1,000. Okay, first thing we do, we double it. Well, here's something interesting. We see these are all group 1. Every digit here is group 1 digit. So we don't have any carries. So we could just go ahead and write it down real quick. And then doubling again. We know 6 doubled is 12, but we need to carry from here. So instead of 12, we write 13. Once again, 6 doubled is 12, but we know we need a carry. So instead of writing a 12, write that 13 like that. And again, 6 doubled is 12. We look at the next digit over, realize we don't have to carry anything. So we can go ahead and write that 2 down. And then 4 doubled is 8. Okay, now the divide by 1,000 portion simply means we do move that decimal over here, 1, 2, 3. So our final answer. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this. It's a real quick way of doing some maths using doubling and some basic algebra, kind of manipulating it around to come up with your answers real quick. You can kind of do the same thing with multiplying by these numbers. I'll show you that in another video. When you multiply by these numbers, there's a trick. First you half it, and then you multiply by 10. You just do the opposite. So I'll show you guys that in another video. I hope you enjoy this. Please like and comment below if you like this. If you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, I want to encourage you guys just to create your own math problems and practice this stuff. Practice it. The more you get at it, the more you get it, the faster you'll be. You'll just be doing this stuff in your head real fast. And that's the kind of advantage of doing these Vedic math formulas, is they're designed to be done in the mind. So you notice I'm not writing out my carries. I'm not writing anything out up here. I'm doing all this in my mind. It saves you room on your paper. You could do it a lot faster. It increases your mental capability, increases your accuracy and your speed. It'll help train your memory. You have a stronger memory, stronger working memory using these techniques. Overall, I believe these are better methods than what's taught in the Western schools nowadays. There is an advantage to learning the traditional ways. I encourage you guys to do both. So once again, please like and subscribe. And thank you for your time.